Do you remember exactly where you were when ChatGPT launched in 2022? I don't. I think I saw a tweet about it, shrugged, and then went back to whatever crisis was trending that week. Now, ChatGPT lives in a permanent tab in my browser. I've even given it a nickname, but that's not something for this video. And clearly, I'm not the only one losing healthy boundaries. ChatGPT is used by over 120 million people daily. That's nearly twice the population of France. What started as a tool to help write emails or craft that perfect "it's not you, it's me" breakup text is quickly becoming the primary way people search for information online. Right now, ChatGPT processes 1 billion messages per day. And while that's a lot less than 1% of Google search queries, it's still early days. By 2030, ChatGPT could own up to 20% of the search market share. That's not great news if your SEO strategy has pretty much been, and still is, let's rank for keywords on Google. In this video, I'll show you the search engine you should actually be paying attention to if you want to get cited on ChatGPT, how to track whether your brand is appearing in ChatGPT responses, and what to do to get mentioned more often. Let's start from the basics. How does ChatGPT work? On the surface, you input a prompt, ChatGPT spends a few seconds processing it, and returns with a relevant output. Easy, right? Not quite. Behind the scenes, a lot of weird words and acronyms come together. RAG, neural networks, transformers, tokens. You know what? I'll just get into it. ChatGPT runs on a transformer neural network and thinks in tokens. Technically, it can't think, but you get the gist. Transformers are designed to understand context and relationships between words. Not just one word at a time, but across entire sentences and even paragraphs. This is why ChatGPT generates coherent text and not gibberish. It also doesn't read text like we do. Instead, it breaks down everything into tokens, which are chunks of language. Whole words, subwords, punctuation marks, even spaces that can be processed mathematically. And of course, it's trained on a large subset of data and uses billions of parameters to figure out what the most likely next token should be based on your input and everything it has seen before. Still with me? Good. So when you ask ChatGPT to create a recipe with the leftovers from your fridge, here's what's really happening. First, it tokenizes your input, breaking down your prompt into digestible chunks it can understand. Then, using its transformer model, it analyzes the context of every token in your request, understanding relationships like eggs go with cheese and you probably don't want chocolate in your stir fry. Based on everything it learned during training, it predicts the most likely token one by one until it completes your recipe. That's pretty straightforward. But what happens when you ask something that requires real-time information like best local SEO agencies in 2025 or the top 10 places to visit on a budget in 2025? That's where RAG, or Retrieval Augmented Generation, comes in, which sounds intense, but basically means, before I answer this, let me Google, or in this case, Bing it real quick. Why Bing? You'll find out soon enough. Instead of relying only on its training data, RAG allows ChatGPT to pull in information from external sources, like search engines, before generating a response. Without it, you're stuck with whatever the language learned at the time of its training. So, to recap, ChatGPT is a giant neural network trained to predict the next word. It uses transformers, tokens, and billions of parameters to do it. It doesn't think, it doesn't understand, but it's seen enough patterns to fake it really, really well. And when it needs help, RAG lets it pull information from external sources to sound even smarter. It's basically a glorified guesser with an internet-sized brain and surprisingly good manners. Plus, my biggest cheerleader. So, do all AI search engines work this way? Not quite. Perplexity, for example, employs real-time web retrieval by default. Every query triggers a live search, and responses include citations with links to the original sources. ChatGPT, on the other hand, mainly relies on what it learned during training, unless you enable browsing features. With browsing, it can pull in fresh info, but by default, it's just working with what it already knows. If you want the full scoop on Perplexity and what it means for SEO, I have a video for that. The link is in the description. So, we've covered the nerdy stuff. neural networks, tokens, Bing. Welcome to 2025. Let's move on to something a bit more practical. Tracking your brand mentions in ChatGPT. You'd think there'd be a built-in way to check for that, but there isn't. You can thank Sam for that. Lucky for you, Keyword.com just launched its AI visibility tracker, which shows you exactly when and how your brand is being mentioned in ChatGPT. Let me show you how it works. So here I am in my Keyword.com account, and I'm in the AI visibility tab. On the left, you can add your domain to track, and once you've done that, you can start tracking prompts. To do it, it's very easy. Just click on Add Term, enter the search term you want to track, and choose the AI engine that you want to track. In this case, OpenAI GPT. You can choose the tracking interval and use advanced options to enable web browsing. Click on Save, and once you've done that, you'll find a summary of your tracked search terms below. And if you click on a specific search term, you'll find performance metrics such as your visibility score, the latest recorded position, the sentiment score, average position, and other metrics. If you click on View Results, you'll find additional metrics about the performance of your brand for that search term, including how your competitors are ranking. But what is really cool is that if you go all the way down and click on Spyglass, you can see the actual search result for that prompt. You can also find additional metrics about your overall performance in the Overview tab, information about competitors in the Competitors tab, what citations are being pulled by AI in the Citations tab, how AI is portraying your brand in the Sentiment tab. But for the sake of this video, I'll stop here and just let you try it for yourself. So what if you check and ChatGPT isn't mentioning your brand at all? Sad, but fixable. If you want your brand to show up in ChatGPT's responses, your content needs to be part of its data training set and/or the sources RAG pulls its information from. Here are 3 ways to make that happen. Number 1 is rank in Bing. Honestly, those are 3 words I never thought I would say out loud, but here we are. Bing is the Neville Longbottom of search engines. Awkward for years, then suddenly crucial to the plot. We know that the top result in Bing will appear in ChatGPT sources for the same search query 63% of the time, which means if your site isn't indexed and optimized for Bing, you're already at a disadvantage, even if you're ranking top in Google. Now, it's all about making sure that Bing bots can find you, which is low-key dystopian if you've seen Terminator or Cyborg. The good thing is that Bing's algorithm is more literal than Google's. It rewards exact keyword matches and less sophisticated synonyms. So while Google's chasing intent, Bing's like, you said SEO proposal template? Great, I'll serve that page that says that word for word. Start by optimizing your content for exact match phrases. Then submit your site to Bing Webmaster Tool so you can check which web pages are being crawled and indexed. Number 2 is include entity references in your content. ChatGPT is big on context. Think people, places, brands, tools. Anything it can anchor to a real-world concept. These entities and contextual data help ChatGPT interpret prompts and provide relevant output. So, what does this mean for your content? One thing, you need to name drop like you're at a marketing conference with drink tickets. Don't just say, we're an SEO agency. Say, we're a search engine optimization agency based out of Chicago that helps SaaS brands rank on Bing. Mention the tools you use. Mention your niche. Mention competitors. Not because you love them, but because it helps ChatGPT figure out who you are and what you do. The easier it is for ChatGPT to connect the dots about your brand, the more likely it is to mention you in relevant responses. Number 3 is write like you're answering a prompt. ChatGPT isn't reading your content for fun. It's scanning to see if your page answers the kinds of questions that people are typing into chatbots at 2 a.m. That means clarity beats cleverness. Instead of burying your insights under a metaphor and 3 subheadings, just say the thing. The best time to send a cold email is between 8 and 10 a.m. on Thursdays. Not sure if that's true, by the way. Please let me know. Use direct language, structure your content around questions, and include short, skimmable answers, even if they feel obvious. Think of it like writing to somebody who's skimming over your page while also trying to cook pizza rolls in the microwave. If your content sounds like it's already answering a prompt, ChatGPT is more likely to treat it as one and cite it. And that's about it. AI search is moving faster than an over-caffeinated intern on a tight deadline. Today it's Bing, tomorrow, Who knows? Maybe ChatGPT starts pulling from DuckDuckGo, Reddit, or someone's Notion wiki. Nothing's off the table. One thing stays the same. If you want to show up in AI answers, your content needs to be easy to find, easy to understand, and hard to ignore. But wherever the robots go next, you'll know exactly where your brand stands thanks to our AI visibility rank tracker. So yeah, SEO is changing, but you've got this and we've got your back.